open the back of the sacrifice and pluck out the heart and cut it out piece and eat them.
It's the world's greatest taboo.
People get disturbed because I'm eating my own fat. And maybe we taste better than a cow or a pig.
It's the stuff of our worst nightmares. But it's happened time and time again through history.
Seeing a living man eating the dead man's body is something very surprising and shocking.
In modern-day Varanasi, northern India, there's a Hindu sect known as the Aghori, who also suffer from rumors of cannibalism.
There's a lot of bad popular press that depict the Aghori as wild-eyed savages.
The Aghori are followers of the Hindu god Shiva. Their sacred rituals involve embracing all that they find repulsive.
Aghor literally means non-terrible and is actually a state of mind. It is a psycho-spiritual state in which there is no discrimination, no aversion or fear to anyone or anything.
In the ancient tradition of the Aghori, the ultimate path to enlightenment came from committing the ultimate taboo, eating a human corpse.
The Aghori believed that the greatest fear that human beings have is the fear of their own deaths, and that this fear is a barrier to spiritual enlightenment. So by confronting one's own fear of death, someone can achieve this state more easily.
But in modern India, the Aghori's cannibalistic tradition is no longer acceptable.
People from my sect eat flesh and drink wine to satisfy their own cravings, but it is their own choice. You don't need to consume flesh to reach enlightenment. I'm an Aghori, and I've never tried wine or flesh, and I'm on the path to enlightenment.
Nowadays, in order to overcome their aversion to death and decay, the modern-day Aghori holy men live in cremation grounds, dress in burial shrouds, and drink from human skulls.
Aghor meditation can be done anywhere. The cremation ground is a peaceful place, and we find aids to meditation there.
The Aghori holy men maintain the cremation ground temples dedicated to Shiva, the first Aghori, and tend the sacred fire known as the Duni.
This Duni has burned for almost 100 years. I get my wood from the funeral pyres after the family have left them. I get some every day.
The Duni is the modern Aghori's last link to their cannibalistic past. In a ritual of symbolic cannibalism, the holy men cook their food in the hot ashes taken from funeral pyres.
We do cook on the Duni, and we eat the food.
The Duni helps the saints and sadhus to have a strong willpower and gives them a spiritual kind of power.
Devout Hindus believe the Aghori's contact with human ashes gives them the power to heal.
When people come for healing, they take ashes from the Duni and they apply it onto afflicted areas much as they would with medicine, and they ingest it. They also bring it home and use it ritually.
To most modern Aghori, the ancient tradition of actually eating a human body is just as horrifying as it would be to a modern Christian.
Years ago, people ate flesh and drank alcohol in this temple, but people realized it was wrong what they were doing.
But the Aghori's most notorious ritual is not entirely a thing of the past.
It tastes slightly sweet, and it causes the tongue to thicken.
In the past, the ancient Hindu sect known as the Aghori had a tradition of cannibalism as a path to spiritual enlightenment. While the majority of Aghori no longer practice this rite, filmmaker Sandeep Singh made contact with one holy man who was about to perform his sect's most holy ritual and consume human flesh.
It's a secret ritual done in isolation because in India cannibalism is not allowed. People won't accept it.
Sandeep tracked down a group of traditional Aghori monks living outside Varanasi and began trying to convince them to allow him to capture their secret rituals on film.
I made a film on Aghoris, the most controversial sect of Indian saints, out of curiosity. It was very tough. It took me 1 year's time to convince that Aghori, and another 1 year to find an Aghori who was due for his cannibalistic act.
According to ancient Aghori tradition, it is only necessary to consume the flesh of a dead body once or twice in a lifetime as an act of extreme purification. Sandeep's holy man lived on the banks of the Ganges, downriver from Varanasi, the Hindus' most sacred city.
It is believed that the Lord Shiva, he separated Kashi, Varanasi, from the cosmos. That so, whosoever dies in Kashi shall be freed from the burden of sins, and he shall attain moksha, which you can say transcendation or salvation.
Hindus come from all over the world to Varanasi to cremate their loved ones on the banks of the holy river.
First, the body is dipped in the holy Ganges to purify the body, and then the pyre, which is made up of wood, is made, and the body is placed on the pyre. After it, the body turns into ashes. Those ashes are offered to Ganges.
Being cremated here and having your ashes thrown into the Ganges is the best ending to life that a Hindu could imagine. But not all dead bodies are cremated.
There are 5 kinds of people who are not burnt when they are dead. These people include the holy men, unmarried women, pregnant women, small children, people who have died of snake bites, people who have died of leprosy. They have not lived their life to the fullest. The society wants them back, so they are not offered to fire as oblation. They are rather put in the Ganges as an offering.
Sandeep's Aghori monk spent day after day on the banks of the Ganges, waiting for one of these bodies.
We waited for around 3.5 months, 90 days, so that the Aghori can get the corpse. He found a dead body floating in the Ganges. He pulled the corpse from the Ganges, and he took the corpse to this kutia, the place where he do his prayers. Initially, he just offered some flowers to the corpse. Then he washed the corpse with the Ganges water. Then he was sitting on the corpse, meditating. And then finally, he just cut a part of the body, something near the hand, and he started eating a part of it. It was smelling bad. It was a foul smell. Seeing a living man eating the dead man's body is something very surprising and shocking. Something which I personally did not like. It was fine afterwards as I came to know the logic and reasons behind this ritual.